Welcome back to ScrumCenter, another edition of your favorite podcast show here from USA Rugby. My name is Kurt Weaver, the Vice President of Rugby Operations for USA Rugby. We're joined by some very special guests today. Eric Gleason, CFO of USA Rugby, Mark Griffin, Commercial Director for USA Rugby, and very, very special guest, Angus Roxburgh from EY. He's an associate partner with EY, but he is here today representing all things and the new and exciting partnership we have here.
Thank you.
So Angus, thanks for making the trip in. We really appreciate it. To dive right into the excitement, I wanted to dive into the most important part of anything we, of course, talk about is rugby experience. So, diving right in, Mark, why don't you start us off, because you do have a storied rugby past. Give us a little bit of your background here for playing the game.
A little bit of background. I played the game since I was 7 or 8 years old. Came to America in '99.
One of the good looks, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got the. You can't see the ear actually. It's the cauliflower ear is hidden from the camera to not scare people off. But played rugby over here since '99, so 20 years, and played for the USA team 2003 to 2005, which was obviously an awesome experience. So. I think that the rugby experience is unique for everyone. It's something very special, something everyone treasures, and it's something we're bringing to the forefront of the new approach to our commercial partnerships. And it was something that EY was really interested in jumping on board with and helping us elevate to new levels.
Great. And watching a current World Cup, is it a little bit of heartbreak that you're not out there, or is it okay? Have you settled into I'm not playing anymore?
The last World Cup, I was probably like, I probably could still mix it up. Absolutely no chance now. No, all right, no chance. No,
Gary,
that's way back.
In case you need somebody else,
we actually saw you play. Lightest weight hooker in world rugby. I'm right here.
We saw you play touch football yesterday, so we can attest to that.
Yes, yes, very good. Well, and speaking of Angus, you joined us for touch yesterday, so
yes.
Talk a little bit about your rugby experience.
Scored a try too.
Yes. Amazing.
So I played schoolboy rugby, managed to make the junior first 15, not the senior. I went off and did some rowing in my later years at school. Been a rugby fan all my life, and we'll talk a bit more about it later on, but been involved with rugby through EY over the last 4 or 5 years as well.
Eric, rugby experience.
New to the sport. I've been here a year, so I've just really gotten introduced to it, playing a little touch rugby. My time
touch all-star.
Nah, touch average. My time on the pitch has been a bit more on the soccer side of the game.
Nice, yeah. Very nice. Well, yeah, we did get a chance to play a little bit of touch the other day with all of us out there, and it was
embarrassing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we proved why we're playing touch informally on a Wednesday afternoon, and that's about the extent of it. So listen, we're going to dive right in. Angus, I'd like to start with you. What is EY? So we see the word, I know it as Ernst & Young. It's clearly rebranded since that time, but tell us a little bit about what EY is as a company.
So EY started out as an accounting firm. It was actually the merger of a London-based firm and a New York firm a long time ago. And since then, it's evolved into really 4 major divisions. We still have the accounting side of the practice, tax and all that sort of thing, an audit part of the firm as well. We've got what we call TAS, Transaction Advisory Services, which is really mergers and acquisitions type work. And then the area where I sit, which we call advisory, but it's consulting work, so management consulting. The organisation is global, and we have roughly 300,000 people working at EY.
Jeez.
It's a big place, yes. Hard to get to know everyone.
I was going to say, yeah. Do you know all your compatriots there at the office? So EY gets into a company, you'll help them out, can do a little bit of consulting on improvement of business operations, otherwise, things like that. And I think that's kind of what we've gotten a little bit of a look into with a little bit of the partnership. So, Mark, talk a little bit about how we finally made this partnership happen, and then actually what we've already gotten into and working together.
Yeah, I think the anchor for it was talking about the rugby experience, and EY as part of its advisory practice is looking into how to build up sports experiences and sort of connect different brands and sporting organisations together around that. And so that was the genesis of the conversation. And the interesting part about the partnership is it is a true partnership as opposed to just a pure sponsorship. So yes, EY pays a cash consideration for being on the front of the jersey, and we do a number of branding, activation and hospitality pieces around that at different matches, which is one part of this for EY. The other part of this for EY is adding value to us and our business, as you just talked about. And there's three main pieces to that. One was the sort of strategy and a 10-year strategic framework for us and a purpose-built strategy that we just sort of worked through. The second is digital transformation and looking at how we consolidate data and analyse data, and ultimately with an outcome of better connecting with fans, fan-based activation. And the third piece that's near and dear to EY's heart, and also something very unique in the rugby community, I think, is diversity and inclusion. And with the inclusion piece, I think, being huge for rugby, it being such an inclusive game.
Definitely.
So they're the three other pillars to the partnership outside of the pure sponsorship side of it.
Well, and we've already gotten into some of the work around the office. I know we've had a couple sessions, with the staff, with your folks. We got to come in and lay everything out on the wall and do all the consulting stuff. I guess, Eric, kind of walk us into where we are with the strategic planning process overall.
Yeah, I think we've started the strat plan as well as the digital transformation as well. So on the strat plan side, we've really engaged people throughout the entire rugby community, not just the office, but board, community, club, college, at all levels of the game, to really get an idea for where they think the organization is now and where they think the organization needs to be in the future. And so we've used all that data to really put together what we call a roadmap for the next 10 years.
Yeah, so we're a game that doesn't lack opinions, and the community certainly does have very strong opinions. Never, right? So I guess talk about how we've reached out into the community and maybe solicited some of that feedback in this planning process.
Yeah, we engaged our strategy leaders in our US firm, and they have brought in work that they've done with some of the leading companies that you would see, household names around America and globally. They've brought that level of experience and thinking into the environment here with US Rugby. And we went through a process of interviews, I think something like 30, 35 people that we interviewed through that process, as Eric said, all the way from board members and a lot of the staff here, people out in the rugby community around the US, so coaches, players, administrators, to really understand why they're involved in rugby and what's meaningful for them in their area, and also what their expectations were from US Rugby as a national governing body. And we brought all of that feedback and thinking back into the team here and gone through a process of understanding what that feedback is and what it means, and then mapped out how that fits into the current priorities of US Rugby. A lot of new great initiatives. I think, Eric, something like close to 200 things came out of that.
And we kept paring it down and lower and lower.
55.
55, that's right.
So we picked out 55 priorities that we're actually now building into the current plans here at US Rugby.
And the team went beyond just really looking at the stakeholders. They looked at the marketplace, they looked at sport in general, they looked at future things like where's the marketplace trending, esports, all those different pieces.
Yeah, some of that information was a little scary, but I think, it was neat to see how it got distilled down to the actually usable data that we can get into.
That's right.
So I guess talking about this 50 things, maybe even a 10-year plan, Eric, walk us through. It's a bit daunting for a long long timeline.
It looks great on a piece of paper, but in reality, it's like, how do you even parse those down into what can you accomplish over the next 1, 3, 5 years? And then who do you put to lead each of those projects? And then how do you build the tactics and metrics and KPIs behind each one of those? And then how do we build it into what we do day to day on our daily decisions?
So getting a little bit more to bite-sized chunks that we can get through.
That's right.
Griff, walk us through. It's been a while since we've changed the front of the jersey. It's been the same sponsor we had for a good long time. I think it was likely time for a change in that area. But I guess talk about how important this is to us, and I guess as well, this is sort of a new thing for EY to be on the front of a jersey too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is actually. So, Angus can talk to EY's involvement with sports and rugby, but this happens to be the first time for EY to be on the front of a jersey, which is great for them, huge for us. I think first and foremost, just gives us a lot of credibility. A global firm, 300,000 people, that's pretty well known and involved in rugby. To be on the front of our jerseys really does help us with that level of association. And USA Rugby over the years has had a number of global companies, not just on the front of jersey, but key partnerships. And I think the big key to this sort of new wave, if you like, or new approach in our commercial space for us is really focusing on the word partnership and what that really means. Not from a legal perspective, but just from how we can together achieve shared objectives. And so with EY helping us with all those things that we talked about earlier, what's in it for EY? Well, what's in it for EY is that's what they do. That's their business. This is what they do with massive global companies. We happen to be a pretty cool, very unique, and beginning to become an innovative case study for EY to demonstrate its capabilities on, and use that as an opportunity to host and entertain some of their clients around the world who obviously with that global footprint have a number of people in senior positions that happen to like rugby.
Well,
Right?
rugby.
This is
Love the
one of the
game.
great things about the game. There's so many extremely successful people playing at those levels. So that's really the approach for us now is with all of our partners, UL included as well, and Canterbury as well, like just working out how we can both achieve objectives together longer term and add that value.
Not just a check and a good luck. It's got to be integrated, right?
Focus on fulfillment.
I like that. Very nice. So I guess, Angus, to that point, talk to me about what sort of digital innovation and sort of the digital idea. So one of the 3 key pillars you guys are working on. Talk to me about what that even means. What is that overall? So
Yeah, look, EY's purpose is build a better working world. So when we try and bring that purpose into the context here is we think about US Rugby and what its role is, as we touched on before, as a national governing body. We think about the rugby community in the US and of course globally. So whether that be fans or players, the administrators, the referees, the coaches, all the different people that are interested in rugby and have a stake in rugby. And we want to think about how we actually get them better engaged and bring them closer to the game. There's an enormous opportunity in the US to grow rugby. It's a great sport that we know that globally has big footprints in lots of the countries like the UK and in New Zealand and Australia and what have you. We think that the US is a great opportunity to grow rugby and to help bring the values of rugby to the American population, as well as those experiences of being involved in rugby. So a lot of that will happen through digital, whether that's engaging through things like mobile apps and websites and those sort of traditional things that we all think of first, but even how we communicate to people, whether that be things like email newsletters going out or on social media and what have you. How do we integrate that together as one sort of voice of US rugby, and how do we reach more and more people and bring them into the community that is rugby in the US?
So Eric, talk about sort of next steps for the organization in general. We're going into the strategic planning process. We've had a lot of change up, recently.
Sure. I mean, we've got this whole sort of governance working group that we've been sort of working to stabilize the organization, both financially and organizationally, is step one. And that's really step one to the pillar of our strat plan anyways. So, as we solidify the board of directors, we look at Congress, we look at just how the sport is governed at the top level, and then how that can permeate down to the community level. How can we activate our SROs and GUs to really be on the same page and follow the same mission and vision as the rest of us?
Yeah, and it's key, and that's been part of the neat process. We got to get together with all the EY folks, so we got to put everything up on the wall and kind of hammer it out, but we got some really great information out of that, including mission, vision, values, some other things, right?
Yeah.
Which was really key, I think, to what we're doing.
And I think to align with EY, the purpose, right? So our new purpose, and it's a purpose-driven strategies to inspire and empower America to embrace the rugby experience. And that speaks to what Angus is talking about in that we've got our members and we've got 500,000 people in an email list and 750,000 people on social media. But there's a supposed 30 million rugby fans in the US. They're not fans of USA Rugby. That's
Where
our
are you?
That's our opportunity.
Come on.
So
Come on.
It's on us, right? So
Yep.
we have to engage them through experiences, whether in person or digital. And we can do that in conjunction with brands to make some of this stuff sticky and get people to become fans of USA Rugby. Long term, that's probably our biggest value add for USA Rugby is to get 20% of that fan base.
Look, it's a great point. One of our big opportunities for us is to activate internally. There's 300,000 potential fans of rugby out there, and US Rugby in particular. So alongside what we're doing in digital and strategy and all the other things that you expect that we would do, we've got a very large program to activate internally, and that's as big as the program for us to activate our sponsorship externally. We've already got what we're calling office champions in every office that are helping get the message out locally. So a good example is Denver.
Nice.
We've got activations going on in parallel to the Rugby World Cup, where we're running competitions for people to get involved and running awareness campaigns and all those sorts of things. And I've got to say the engagement has really surprised me about how well it's kicked off.
Good.
And how quickly people are embracing EY being on the front of a shirt for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And how
Well,
excited
they probably
people
want
are.
the shirt, right?
They do definitely want shirts. I have a lot of emails as to our marketing team looking for shirts.
Everybody gets the corporate polo, but
Okay,
nobody gets the corporate rugby jersey.
I'm just going to get my coat.
Yeah. No, this is way better than the normal corporate polo you get stuck with. So this is going to be way cooler.
That's
Hopefully
it.
they all buy it.
That's right.
Yeah, 300,000 mark just by next week.
Yeah, they're on
Done.
the way. They're on the way.
Warm up the heat press.
They're on the boat.
You as well can get your own EY jersey by going online right here and purchasing your EY jersey plus all your other USA Rugby kits. So make sure that you get your USA Rugby kit, get your hat, your baby onesies, your bucket hats, your jerseys, everything else. Make sure you support the team.
And that will be World Rugby Shop.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So we make sure URLs are here.
On behalf of us in Canterbury, yeah.
So I guess to wrap up, Griff, we have this new partnership with EY. Again, it's a values-based partnership, which has been really interesting for us to get into, which is kind of, I think, a different way we've taken on this whole commercial thing, which has been new with your tenure, and we really appreciate it. So I guess talk a little bit more about some of the values that we are bringing into this and some of that search into our value statement. I know we're now on Unite, Ignite, and Grow, which has been huge for us, and I think it's really exciting to launch into, but I guess how are you approaching in general like commercial relationships, and maybe what can we see on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, I take it one step beyond values into really more into that purpose, and how do you bring that purpose to life? So if we are trying to inspire and empower America to embrace the rugby experience, well, so what? It all comes down to how do we do that? So how do we partner with EY to do that? Because that's what we're about. That's why we exist as a national governing body. We've got performance at the top, participation at the bottom, and the pathways that connect it in the middle. So everything that we do and every partnership that we do needs to add some value to one of those three areas or more than one of those three areas. But it also needs to align with that organisation's values. Everyone's aware of the rugby values, the respects, integrities, commitments, all those sorts of things. Most corporate values align with rugby values, right? So that's kind of an easy tick the box. It really comes down to how do you put those things into action? And that's where the early on negotiations that came to light were when EY was looking at what was interesting to them and the things they could bring to the table and what we could offer. That's where the alignment is. It was in the kind of the action that brought the values to life. And
I mean, even some of the synergies that are just inherently in place there as we're trying to internally kick off a diversity and inclusion committee program, all of that. EY has done a lot of that legwork and has a lot to offer for us in that area too.
So we're not talking about tactical practice in the EY boardroom. We're talking more so, how we're getting our other programs and initiatives lined up.
That's right.
Yeah, correct.
Although we will offer that anytime you'd like it. We'll happily get some tackle education into the boardroom. It works things out very quickly. It tends to fix the problem. So any sort of conflict.
I'll take that back to our leadership.
Yeah. I'm sure that fits right in with current corporate culture. So I guess, Eric, again, the plan will be out. By the time this will have aired. Some more information that folks can find, or maybe a way that people can engage with the plan on a community level.
Yeah, and listen, it's going to be a continuous rollout. It's not just a plan. Here it is. It sits on our website and goes static. It's an ever evolving document. We're going to have a multitude of webinars. We're going to have interactions throughout the community to really integrate what everyone's doing to make sure it's all aligned. Yeah, and
one of the complaints of the past has been it's a plan that gets put on the website, and then we don't touch it again until it expires. Right. We have to write a new plan.
That's right.
All right. So Angus, I guess give me some of your high points in addition to scoring your try yesterday at touch. Give us some of your high points of the working relationship so far.
Yeah, I think the engagement really between the US Rugby team and our team is the thing that's really stood out for me. From the US Rugby side of things, the team here has been very open, very willing, very energetic about getting involved from day one. Whilst we only formally signed our relationship at the early part of this year, we even started talking to your guys, through last year, and learning a lot more about your organisation as we went into that process. So the engagement really started from day one, which was great. On our side of things, as I touched on before as well, the enthusiasm within EY and in the US, where rugby is not one of the sort of national sports, the engagement has been fantastic, and the desire for people to get involved. Alongside the emails for shirts, I get emails and phone calls from people who actually want to find out how to get involved and help, which is just amazing. People are just picking it up and actually trying to find ways to come and get involved, whether that's in their local office or coming down here and helping like our strategy team did.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get them signed up as coaches.
Yep.
We'll get them signed up as referees. We could use some referees. I think your folks would be great at the referee part of it. And of course, then with touch as one of the growing opportunities here, it's a great way to just intro the team into playing the game. And Griff, I guess finally, you probably get a whole lot of inquiry around, hey, why aren't we getting sponsored by this group? Why isn't this person, writing a check or that? I guess, how can people, if they do have an idea or do have a way that they'd like to get involved commercially and something they'd like to do, reach out to you, or is it more so to another process you'd like them to take?
No, anyone can reach out to me. Griffin at usarugby.org for sure. It's not written on my jersey, but it might be on the screen. Again, it's people are aware of what we're trying to achieve and where we're trying to go. There should be pretty obvious fit with most companies. I think when you look at EY and UL, they're very much business to business companies. It revolves around the entertainment of their clients and sort of that case study component, as well as the branding awareness piece, right? Whereas when you start talking about retail brands, there's actually a real growth opportunity to connect into the rugby fan base. So for a Canterbury who's looking to sell jerseys, we can create content to engage that broader fan base, our members and beyond there. So brands in particular, I think, is where we have a great opportunity going forward to engage them in all the different levels that sit below the national teams.
And there's lots of those, right?
And the national team level is a great opportunity for the business-to-business partners to showcase that level of affiliation as well. So big focus on engaging brands with similar and aligned purpose to ours going forward.
Perfect.